and welcome to the God is a Geek podcast. It's episode 429 in the style of a game show host. My name is Adam Cook, and I am joined by Adam Carroll. I'm going to go for him diagonal. No, just below me, Adam Carroll.
Yes,
right?
How are you?
I'm right, mate. Less fisherman this week by the looks of it.
Less fisherman, but my background is very cluttered. Like, there's a lot going on. There's like a TV there. There's a little plant up here.
For those.
Are you not in the same place as last week?
I am, but
you said you were going to move.
Yeah, I did, but like,
yeah,
I'm too. But like, I got a lot more stuff going on, I suppose. So it's making up for it. I don't know what the hell this.
I was just about to ask. We need to introduce everyone. Chris White, you've just heard his voice. Hello, Chris.
Hello.
And Christopher Hyde is also here as well. Chris, you all right?
Hello.
So not also here, like, and also round.
Yeah,
but
I suppose he's turned up.
Yeah, I mean, we do need to address. I mean, this is for those who just listen. This is also a video podcast where you can see us chatting on YouTube.com/GodIsAGeek. And Adam Carroll's got, like I say, a pot plant. I think that's a fake
I got
plant.
a plant up here. I got a couple of jackets here. I got a TV behind me.
It's the thing on the wall that's it's really flummoxed me.
It's a fuse box.
Oh, it's a fuse box.
I was going to say, is it a fuse box?
It's a fuse box.
My God, is it old?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's a fairly old fuse box.
I'm not really up to date with the modernised fuse boxes, but that looks old.
An old fuse box. I mean, that's a podcast title fairly early on as I type it in.
I was just looking at my eyes. It looks like I've got a really hairy ear, like on one side, but it's
because of the plant. Like you've got potatoes growing out of it.
Yeah.
I'm impressed with.
Again, apologies to people that aren't watching this on video, but that's a reason to watch the video.
I mean,
you're missing out on an old fuse box of Chris's hairy ear.
Yeah,
yeah, and potential. And Chris White behind you. I'd like to say over your right shoulder, it looks like you've set up almost a restaurant there. That kind of looks like a bottle of wine and a menu.
D&D?
It's not, yeah. It's D&D, but for a minute it looked like
I don't know what you mean though. Like there's a menu and everything.
I actually want to know briefly, how is Dungeons and Dragons going for you, Chris?
That's fucking amazing, man.
Are you loving
We've had 5 sessions now. We do it every Wednesday and Saturday. And they last for about anything from 3 to 5 hours.
Jesus.
Where I've now created the lore for the entire world that it's set in, and it's just fucking nuts. I'm really enjoying it.
Like when it's done with all that lore, like when you're, I don't know, how does it? I don't know anything about
D&D. You literally. It's the campaign, so you come up with a story arc to last for however long you want it to, and then you just find ways to drag out them finding the information with either fights or quests or whatever you want. But it could just be whatever you want it to be, literally.
I have a question, a very quick one. How do you remember the plot?
I've written it down, and I also write recaps because I'm a nerd.
That's okay. I'm just curious because
like previously on D&D.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, amazing!
I've got like session recaps that are like 4 pages long for each one.
Can you get games?
I read them out at the start of every session, so you'll know what happened.
Does it always have to? This is again, people probably who are into this are like, oh God, shut up. But like, you know how like they're like fantasy based, like you say, Dungeons and Dragons. Can you do what you're doing, the game? But could you do it like a Jack Bauer 24 style thing? Like,
yeah, well, so D&D follows 3 main kind of books, and one's the player handbook, one's a monster manual, and one's the dungeon master's guide. So that features all you need to know to play D&D. But there's a game system which has nothing to do with D&D. I believe it's called the Fate system, which is essentially leveling up like at the most neutral level with no basis in fantasy, science fiction, horror, whatever. You could literally create a Freddy Krueger like game like that, like role playing game. You could create a 24 one. You could make a Peppa Pig one. You could do what the fuck you want.
Peppa Pig, yes.
But you'd literally have to.
Oh, that's weird, man. I had a podcast today where they had a clip about Peppa Pig, and that's like that. I haven't heard anyone mention Peppa Pig for. My kids are way too old.
The fact that you look up the Irish Peppa Pig.
What?
The Irish version of Peppa Pig. What do you mean? It's very much for the adults.
Oh, is it like that?
Peppa Pig and Irish. It's just loads of Irish language.
Is it like that Dutch or is it Swedish? Like
probably.
The man with the long penis thing. That.
Oh my God!
You saw that, right? Did we talk about that on the podcast?
Adam Cook, you mentioned it there. Yeah. I haven't thought about it in about 3 years. But let me just ask: is 24 actually any good?
Now.
Like, I played that game on PlayStation 2.
Oh, the game. I think that was quite good, wasn't it?
That's the game. I'm out with the TV show. My 24 knowledge is just of that game.
Oh, are you asking if it's any good, like, as in should you watch it now?
Like, yeah, is that TV show good?
I think I very much like the first 4 or 5 series.
How many are there?
7? 8?
And then they did that shitty...
Oh, the movie?
I don't think I finished the last one.
There's a movie and a series.
What was that? Was it when they went to London, the last one? Or was that the one before the last one?
Oh,
they did a lot. Because he got done for drink driving or something, and he got... but he got out of it all right.
I think the first series is one of the best series of television.
Do you think it would hold up, though?
No,
that's what I'm getting at.
Too many parodies and stuff of it.
There's nothing worse if something like that doesn't hold up well.
No, I would say not. It looks very old.
Kim and the not as a cougar. What was it? Jack's daughter
Bauer.
Kim and the cougar.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They kept finding ways of getting her in trouble, didn't they? And there was a cougar involved.
Was her name called Cougar?
No. I mean an actual animal.
An animal.
Like I think she's trying to get the work at CTU, and Jack's daughter gets attacked by a cougar or something like that. And like, no, nothing sexy or anything. It's just fairly sexy. Yeah, I mean,
It was.
So what you can tell me about 24 is it doesn't hold up, and Jack gets attacked by a cougar.
And he's got an attractive daughter.
Yeah,
he's got an attractive daughter
played by Alicia Cuthbert.
That's correct. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I remember that in that game. Yeah, she was on that. Yeah, Jesus.
She was. Yeah. The Medium's a video game, though. We should talk about because it's out now. Do you know what? It's funny. I haven't played a video game this week at the time of recording, but last week. And I think this week for you, Chris, I think as well, you've been playing The Medium. You reviewed The Medium. You finished The Medium. It's a weird game. Like, it's a really weird game.
Yeah, but I came out of it. Like, it is weird to talk about. And also because a lot kind of happens that you don't want to kind of ruin. But
very much,
I think Bloober Team have had some great games. They've had some mediocre games, and they've had some pretty poor games.
But on the whole, thinking your favourite of theirs is Observer.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Would this
Observer's incredible.
Okay, see, I tried that recently. I didn't put it on the list. I didn't get on with it. I actually just to sidetrack. Is it Rutger
Hauer?
Yeah, I found that tremendously off-putting.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, but what I mean is his delivery is very much his delivery in that game.
Yeah.
But nobody else in the game is anywhere close to, I don't know, the level of quality, I guess, or the pedigree of his acting. And that's certainly not a slur. I found his voice acting very... actually, also, apparently the house in that game is in The Medium, apparently. They're based on real places, yeah. I think the apartment complex you start The Medium in is also the one from Observer in some way or form, but the Observer one was obviously massively in the future.
Oh shit! I need to look into that.
Yeah, it's a bit weird.
That's cool.
They do that. They seem to do that. Bloober Team. Like, I didn't spot this till later, but when you look around the environments and stuff in The Medium, did you see like there's the Blair Witch?
Yes.
Yeah, like I didn't see that in the game, but they seem to do that. But
I mean, they're very talented bunch of individuals. For it being the first kind of next-gen exclusive or Xbox game that on the new Xbox consoles, I think it's very strong start. I think the story is really interesting. It kind of...
The story's the best part for me.
It gradually pulls you in, and then, like, there's a point where it kind of opens up massively. And it, like you said to me, like it kind of
there's a
turns into
definite
something
moment.
completely different, but not in a bad way. It just expands a lot, and it kind of takes you in a direction you never expected to go.
Yep,
I don't think.
Well, it goes. And it goes. It's weird because it's like it is a dark game. I mean, obviously the subject matter is she's a medium. That's but like it goes, and we're not going to spoil. We should just say we won't spoil here. But it does go. This is awful because the moment we're talking about it goes. I don't know. It goes very dark in terms of subject matter, and it does. It sort of there's a gradual hinting, but nothing that makes you go oh, and then all of a sudden it's like bam, it's like, oh fuck, okay. But you said it in the review, and I appreciated that what you said. I think you said something like it never actually goes into a gratuitousness,
No, it's not explicit in
but
its
you know what's
delivery,
going
is it?
on. No,
It's kind of, you know what the theme is, but
it's just dark
and
as dark
it could have been like an 18. It could have been done distastefully, but they don't. But I'll stop talking because you don't know what I'm on about.
Yeah, I know. Apologies, but it's a difficult game to discuss.
In general, it's very smart how they.
Yes.
It's all very like, it feels very familiar. Like, it does feel like Resi and Silent Hill, where you go around and you find clues, or you'd click on an object and she'd talk about it. And then there are like the little puzzles.
She likes to chat to herself.
She bloody
it was
does.
only when I saw after the game reviews come out, I saw someone said like, I'd actually like this a lot more if she just stopped talking. It's like, oh, yeah, she does.
I get it.
Talk
but
to
to be
herself
fair,
with
if
it.
she didn't, there'd be little else going on.
Very quiet game, yeah.
Yeah, but like, there's puzzles that rely on you to look at your notes and the stuff you find, or like things on the wall. Like, it does feel very Resi, and there's like things where you have to find like these butterflies in different rooms and between the two worlds that you then have to put in order, and you have to use certain things to work out that order. It's all very smart, but they don't take forever, but they are very like familiar. Like you,
but like the puzzles you mentioned, you mentioned about how it's like Resi and Silent Hill. Like, there is literally a puzzle where you have to find. Hey, it's not a spoiler. You have to find 4 pieces of sheet music, combine them, and then you've got the sheet music. Is that kind of But that sounds. I've made it sound boring. But the fun in that is kind of there are also other environmental puzzles to find those 4 pieces.
But even when you go around and find these pieces of sheet music, you're still finding out other information about the story. And they do what they do in like Tacoma, where they have like memories that
Rapture.
happen.
You mentioned
you almost have to tune into the memory to be able to see the 2 people talking, and then you hear
I thought that was broken at first, because every single one I did for the first sort of few hours was always diagonally up and right, and I don't know if that's random or not.
I don't know. I because I played it through, and then I played it again to capture. And when I was capturing it, I was trying to do one of the puzzles. I couldn't fucking do it. It would have looked really shit on video, where it was just frozen for ages, and I'm like, keep going. So I think you just, with the vibrations, it kind of does help, because you get to a certain point and you're in the right ballpark for it. But like when they open up, like the characters talking, like it's not poor acting.
No,
there's some good voice acting. The quality is really good, and like Thomas, who you will find out more about, who's been announced within the pre-game trailers and stuff. Then there's obviously Marianne and her. Like, she starts the game by getting a father ready for his funeral and his burial, and that's when it all kind of kicks off.
Can I ask, what did you make? So the stuff you're talking about is kind of the tutorial, isn't it? I guess. When you get to Hotel Neva, that's when the game begins, I guess. How did you as I was playing it? There's a part when you're playing a game pre-release, obviously, where if you love it, great, you're in. But sometimes you get games where you're like, I have to keep playing. But this is a very concerning introduction to this game, and I found, and maybe it's because I haven't played a game. Well, there's not many games with a fixed camera these days.
No.
But I was constantly misjudging stairs and going bumping into things and not able to get the stairs. Once I got into Neva and had a couple of hours under my belt, it was fairly natural feeling. But
it's just refreshing your brains from a long time ago.
But it was
you're not used to it anymore.
It's also because I think obviously Adam Carroll, big horror fan. Mm-hmm. Although this is, I think, thriller more than horror, but same ballpark, I guess. Something that I think he may struggle with is this game's slow pace.
But I'm okay with that, because it's going down the psychological route. I feel
but I'm talking everybody's gone to the Rapture, how it had a run button, but it may as well not have.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
This game
Did I
is
not
that.
like that?
This game has that. You hold a run button down, but she doesn't run.
Oh,
it's really strange. Now I will say, again, as time progressed, jumping all around the place, but I will also say, Chris, when you mentioned the story, I will salute that, right? Because it's one of very few games where there's obviously a lot of collectibles and a lot of things where you can read them. I read every one of them. There was never one where I was like, fuck. Every single one of them I found interesting. Like what they've created in terms of the lore, I guess.
Yeah.
I found genuinely this is interesting. It's well written. It feels kind of almost when you gain knowledge, like Chris, when you said you played it back for the video, like having knowledge of finished it, reading some of the stuff through again, I found myself being like, yeah, this is actually well written because this knowledge after it is what that character would write. It's how they write.
If for any reason you wanted to go and play through it again, like, I mean, it's not got tons of replayability unless you wanted to go back through it and collect everything.
Yeah.
But like going back through it again, there's like so many things dead early on that relate to things right at the end. Like the writing is tight. Like they know exactly what they want to do and what the story they want to tell.
Yeah.
And like they do it, like there's other ways they do it as well, where you like pick up certain items and you could use your insight, which is kind of like...
Yes. That's the thing they did pre-release where everyone was confused.
Last of Us.
Because of the shoe thing. Did you know that? Because when we all saw that, where they released the gameplay demo, and they literally... And I have to commend them, when they started, like, this is what this game is. It's a 12-minute gameplay preview.
Yeah.
And it starts with just the first-person view of a shoe being rotated that suddenly starts screaming. And when you've never played this game, everyone is rightly looking at it going, what the fuck? But when the insight stuff's really cool. Like,
very, yeah, because
the shoe.
It's weird because like you're playing it and you find out about one character and then you find everything out about them and then it kind of moves on to another area and you find out someone else and then you do the same and then it kind of ends that, throws it off, and you move into this next stage of it. But it's so smart and like we haven't even talked about like the gameplay between the two worlds, like which is
Jesus.
Which is equally
before we do, just one thing before I forget. If we're talking about the pace, and I really do want to get this across to people because I really do think the game should be quicker. And people are probably going to play it and go, oh yeah, you just want it to be like Titanfall or like an Super Meat Boy Arcade. I don't. I respect the pace of the game. I'm talking specifically about, like, in fact, the actual story pacing I've no issue with whatsoever. It is legitimately... Because this is a game where there is a threat, and we're sort of coming into the gameplay with the kind of big bad that hunts you, as it were, and that stuff's fun. But when you're not doing that, there isn't. It is a story game. You are doing puzzles, and it does require you to move around a lot of the environment really, really slowly. And so, Chris, again, we won't dive into it or not. But if I were to say to you, like the maze section, that to me was like the one egregious bit where I was like, this needs to be quicker because you've now gone and you've unveiled this game to me, and you're telling me, this is such a big moment, and I won't say why, but it's such a big moment about where it's going, and it's glacial, the pace at which the character moves, and it's like, apart from that, because the dual reality stuff, right? I was thinking about this. They made a big deal about it. Is it not a bit like a way out where you've got two gameplay people on screen at the same time? Is it brand new?
I think when you are on screen at the same time, you are like, you can't do certain things in one, which you can do in the others, but your character is moving exactly the same direction in both worlds. Yes. So you're always kind of having to flick between, looking at each screen because you might miss like a button prompt in one and not in the other.
Yes.
So they've got a lot of kind of things you can do in the spirit world. Like you've got your different spiritual powers, which one is kind of like a shield to protect you from these flying moths, butterflies. Another one like kind of can turn the power on. It can like provide power, like big, like electronic blast. And the other one kind of factors in later into the game. But you can also, there's like doorways in the real world which are locked. Like there's a door, it's locked. In the other world, you can get rid of these doorways. They're kind of
hell, that's slow as well, isn't it?
They're like, oh my god, they're like walls of skin.
That's kind of gratuitous.
And you have to use this like pocket knife to cut
it's an old razor. It's an old razor. Like it's an old
razor blade,
haircutter's razor. Like
you do that by moving the left. Like I had to wiggle the left stick because it didn't.
I thought I was doing it wrong.
I couldn't just press down.
See, I did, but
it's like that. It's like
Oh my god.
Down. It does take a while.
It is, that's rough.
It's like it differs greatly throughout, and like by the time you get into the end of the game, you like these realities are really kind of played into each other, and it's a really satisfying ending.
Yes,
and really smart, as I say, when you see that they had a plan not that they didn't have a plan all along, but they factored it in so that when you do play again, you'll notice it all.
Do you?
So yeah, it's definitely worth a go.
Because they said beforehand, like the reason this is an exclusive next-gen game is because it just literally couldn't be done. Do you? Because I found myself not buying that. Like, I'm not saying. It's. I think it's actually quite a nice-looking game. It's very atmospheric. I believe the environments. A bit wanky, but you know what I mean. I believe, like when you get into the forest and stuff. I believe them. They look really atmospheric. But the idea that this could not be done on a PS4 Pro or an Xbox One X is like, I don't, it's fine, but I just...
Well, it probably can't be done by them, but I would say many other developers could. They're kind of like, it feels like Ninja Theory with Hellblade, the kind of caliber of the game itself.
I wonder if Microsoft will buy Bloober Team next. They've already got a console exclusive, haven't they?
Here first, folks.
Yeah. But no, it's on Game Pass.
Yes, yeah.
Why you wouldn't play it? It does remind me so much of like the classic psychological horrors that we haven't had one properly for ages. So we haven't even had. I can't even think of the last kind of horror game we had.
The last one I played was another Blooper one. It was Layers of Fear 2.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's my last one as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the thing was, like, I know, Chris, Hyde, you weren't too gone on that. I think you reviewed it actually.
Yeah, I reviewed it.
I was a big fan personally. I just thought there was like good, really great nods and stuff to horror movies, and I really did like the first Layers of Fear as well. Blair Witch not so much. And now we have this one, and like I know there's Observer as well, which I've never played, but they're the ones who are kind of. It feels like that's just what they want to do. They want to do this psychological horror, and it's interesting to see where they'll go. Like each release, I think, is always like cool, and like the positive feedback that is in the medium, it's great to see, because like these games can they can easily be shat on. Like I just think like there's a lot of like either the scares and stuff are just cheap in these games, or the story might be shit.
I would say that this game, I remember one jump scare, and it got me. 100% got me. I don't remember this game being like full-on jump scare, and it is more of a psychological thriller.
There's one moment where I was not fucking expecting it.
Yeah, like it really got me. Is it involving the bath, Chris?
Yes.
Yeah, that really got... I had headphones on as well, and I shat them.
No, it is. The stuff with the moor as well, like...
Yes.
That's quite good. It's not, like, like when you find like Pyramid Head in Silent Hill 2, you're like shit your pants.
Yeah.
But like you're never terrified, but like they do a good job. Like Troy Baker, I would say this is one of the games where he's like really pushed on his abilities as a voice actor, because he's not just putting on like another voice or like an accent or whatever.
You wouldn't know it was him.
He's proper like... His mind is messed up.
But like, you wonder why they spent the money. Because you don't know. You only know it's him because people have said, trust Troy Baker. You wonder why, because he must be more expensive than,
Yeah. But it's the caliber, like it is like fantastic in it.
Oh, absolutely.
If you pick out, if you can normally tell when Troy Baker's done a game, because it's like with Death Stranding, it sounds the same as like Middle Earth. And then the other ones he kind of does, but this is like you wouldn't have a clue. But he does a great job because he's a fucking nutcase.
I mean, I would genuinely. I'm not a big fan of the games this developer's put out before. It's not really my genre. But I do like this. I haven't finished it yet, and like as we record, it's my day off tomorrow. I'm planning to try and finish it. Chris, you told me I'm quite close, so
yeah, you are.
We also have to say as well, it just dawned to me there, but when we were saying the last horror game that came out, we did have Little Hope. I have not played that yet, but
of course,
just in case someone
I reviewed that.
Just in case someone says it in the comments or anything, Little Hope came out, or that's the only one I can think of again.
I know it's marketing and it's what they want you to say, but this is they've sort of said things like this is kind of a like a get together for some of the old Silent Hill lot, because like the composer and that, and like it's again it feels almost pointless because it's in Game Pass, but I Chris and I both recommend it, I would say. I mean, you definitely do, because you give it an 8.5.
I would also say, like, it doesn't feel like Silent Hill.
No.
It feels like its own game. It's just the puzzles remind me of that kind of time, and the camera, like, the world that they've created is very much a unique world. Like their inspirations are elsewhere.
No game can feel like Silent Hill, though, Chris.
No, exactly.
Well, 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I tell you what, it's a nice little segue here, talking about throwing things back to a time. Has anyone played the Balan Wonderworld demo?
No.
Yes.
No.
So it's not very good. Like, this game's...
I don't like the look of the style, I'll tell you that much.
It's... Chris? Like, I wouldn't say I was kind in our preview video. We got early access to the video, and I was really to the game, and I was really excited to play it because it's Sonic creator, Sonic's developer, and like I like the Sonic games. I'm sorry, and they've got 2 months to polish things up. I think they need more than 2 months to because I've seen that. I was looking on Reddit, and a lot of people were going, Oh yeah, but they've got 2 months. A lot of previews I looked at said, 2 months. I was like, I think you don't know how much work needs doing to get this to be where, because it feels a bit like people are letting it off because it's Yuji Naka, and the camera is, it's not like you can have good cameras in 3D platformers, and this doesn't. It's weird, right? Because I feel like, despite the fact that this is by the Sonic with Sonic, I keep saying creator, I mean the team that made the Sonic games, what they are. I don't feel like an awful lot has changed. And it feels like they've tried to take on a few lessons from Mario Odyssey, because in this game you start off as like a kind of generic looking avatar, and you can jump around and move around, and it doesn't look great right from the off. And then you get keys, and when you get the keys, you can unlock outfits of sorts. And like the first outfit you get is, I think it's like a Tasmanian Devil style thing, where when you press jump, he does a whirlwind. But then you'll get a one that's like a dragon, and that dragon doesn't have a jump. And this game, by the way, is you move with the stick, and action is every other button on the controller. Like the one action is every other button. And so imagine that, and imagine that you can bank 3 of those power ups, I guess. One's got a whirlwind jump, one's got a long jump, one's like a dragon fire that you would see. Basically your combat one. But imagine every time you press the bumper to switch between them, you have to watch an animation where he kind of goes, and then it comes into life, and then oh shit, no, I wanted the other one. And it's like,
bollocks! It's no, like how does it run? Okay,
no.
No, it really doesn't. No,
excellent stuff.
No, I played on PC, and there's an element of it where I'm thinking to myself, is my PC's got really good parts in it. I've got a 2060 graphics card. I would like to get hold of a 30 series, but wouldn't a lot of people? Like a lot of people, like they get hold of PS5s and Xboxes, but
yeah.
Sorry, you can't have nice things in the middle of a period where you need things to be nice.
So when is this coming out?
March.
Oh Jesus!
Oh no!
And the thing is, like, there's a mini game in it that's like a quick time event, but it's really boring. Like there's two things, like so it's a cutscene. Again, this is very Sonic sort of adventure. There's a cutscene, and Balan, I think his name's Balan, is like doing all his sort of theatrical circusy stuff, and then a shadow version of him will come across like going like that. Sorry for the people just listening. Like you're doing a pose, and then you have to hit the button when his shadow matches his actions on the screen. That's one type. Then loads of shadows will appear. You have to hammer the button. That's it.
What did you play this on?
PC, and Chris played on Switch.
Ooh.
So it's on everything. Like I have to really commend Square Enix for putting a demo of it out, man. Because people don't do demos.
Yeah, but why? Why would we commend them? Commend them for what? Just putting out a game that runs like fucking poopy bum bum.
No, but it's a new IP, and rather than just hide it and hope that they get some good reviews and people go, oh, Sonic Team. It's not Sonic Team, but it's the kind of people people will buy it. They put a demo and let you play it yourself. Like, I do commend that.
I'll definitely play it.
Because they're doing it with Outriders as well, the other new IP. Their new IPs, they're giving people a chance to test them. And I have to say, I think it's a risk. I think Outriders will do okay, but I think this is... I just struggle to believe people would play this and go, yeah, it's cool. Like,
I mean, just from my perspective, like I've played about 20 minutes. Like, I've not played loads, but I'm almost done with it. And I love 3D platformers. Like, I'll tell you now, like I said to you, Adam, I was resting with that camera within 10 seconds of being able to control the game. It does this thing where like you can control the camera, you can like rotate it like you normally can control a camera in a 3D platformer, but it also has its own idea of where it thinks you want the camera to move to as well, and forces that at any available opportunity. So it might think, oh well, I think you want this camera to start moving clockwise, and I'm like, I fucking want it to move anti-clockwise. So I'm constantly arguing with the game about where I want the camera constantly, and it was really, really frustrating. In my view, you either say you can't control the camera, and I'm just going to tell you where to look because I've designed the camera in keeping with how the game is laid out, and I'll tell you where you look, or don't mess with the camera and let me be in control of where I want it to be, and I'll move around and look where I want to look. But it does both, and it's really annoying because you're just having to worry about something else you shouldn't have to worry about. And yeah, it doesn't look good. I was like, okay, let me rephrase
we need to address that because like there is an opportunity that they may have another pass at it, and it might look a bit better. But I think the biggest problem is that they've outsourced the cutscenes, and they look incredible.
They look so good. Like I played it on Switch, and I was looking at obviously the intro I was playing, and I was like, oh. This looks tasty. This looks nice. Like for a Switch game, and that sounds really harsh, but this looks like a nice intro. This is going to be something else.
There's an element, isn't there, where you're thinking, "There's no way it's going to look like that." Surely,
no. And so you that sometimes happens, and you go, "Okay, I know it's not going to look good, but I like where this is going." And then you drop into the game, and I'm like, "Sorry, am I playing a PS2? Like, I'm being a bit." Excited.
PS3.
Yeah, but the downgrade is definitely noticeable.
It's a real downgrade. Like you go, oh, okay.
It looks again. The cutscenes are insane, full of vibrancy and this beautiful color. They're glorious. It reminds me of how like the Halo 2 cutscenes are outsourced, and they look like they look like Pixar movies. That's what this looks like. The cutscenes look like a Pixar movie,
they do.
And then it drops you into the sort of overworld that I've forgotten the name of. And nothing makes any sense.
Can I just make that point as well? Like, I've only played it for 20 minutes and I got confused about 4 times.
Yeah.
Like I so you start this when you actually get in control. You go to this number 1 pad, and then it opens up you get 2 doors in front of you with a 1 and a 2. I don't know what these doors for. I just went, oh, screw it. I'll go through number 2 because I don't know what I'm doing. And it went, okay.
That is so... Oh, come on.
Chapter 1, Act 2. I went, whoa.
Why would you pick a door called 2 when there was a 1 there, though? That's not on there. Act 2 That's on you, man.
No, I'm sorry. If it's a story, you lock off Act 2 before you've done Act 1. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm just going to open this book. Chapter 2 it is to start with. Like, come on.
No, but in my defence, if they'd said, which chapter do you want to play?
It doesn't label
obviously,
them.
I'm going to pick chapter 1 because I'm not an idiot. But they just went, pick a door, 1 or 2. Well, I'm like, well, everyone will pick door 1. I'll pick door 2. And I was like,
okay.
And then also, like, it's interesting, like you say about like the keys for the suits. I only know that because you've told me the keys are for the suits. And when I picked up a couple of the suits, it took a key away from me. I have no idea.
And that key respawns, but you can't pick it up again if you've got it already.
Keys keep respawning, and you can pick them up again, but I can't figure out, is it because I'm picking up more gems, and that's why they're respawning? Is it on a timer? I have no idea, but I've got a load of keys that I keep picking them up.
Not to like completely rail on this game, but there is another thing that I had that was like a really unique problem that I don't think you'll have had, because am I the only guy who inverts the vertical look in games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so for someone like me with apparently a disability, the way you're all fucking looking at me, like the first thing I do when I boot a game up is I can never just go, well, let's just and play. Never. Like, even if a game, sometimes you get these games where they just start straight away and they're like massive immersion. I have to go, yeah, cheers, start, options. No matter how, it always fucking ruins it, right? In this game, again, first thing I did, cutscene, blah, 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 right, start. In this game, because it takes I don't know if it's intentional, but because every face button is right. In fact, let me give you a little quiz here. So you're in a menu, okay? You're going to change an option. Let's say for you it's subtitles on or off, whatever. So you've finished, you've gone down to subtitles, so you've gone options, you've gone along, you've pressed the A button or the cross button on the PlayStation, you've gone into the menu, you've pressed you flicked it across to subtitles on. Then what do you do to get out of that menu?
Like, you either press like circle.
B or circle.
Right. No. No, because every button in
Because
this
every
game
button is the action,
is the action button,
great,
and even the
amazing.
menus. So there's a bit, I didn't use it in the video, funnily enough, but there's a bit where I spent 3 minutes trying to get back to the main menu. It's like, I can't get out of the main menu because what I didn't spot it down the bottom is a return. You have to go down to the return button. Once you find return, you can press A, B, X, Y. Doesn't matter because they're all the OK button.
Tangential menu annoyance as well. When I picked Act 2 by mistake by going through the wrong door, I was like, okay, how do I quit to the title screen or whatever, or go back to that overworld?
Yeah.
Well, silly me, it's in the miscellaneous menu because I was just like, of course it is. Of course, retry or take back to the overworld is in the miscellaneous menu. I was like, there isn't a way to get out of this. I'm going to have to play Act 2 or just turn off my Switch.
Punishment, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, I can't get out of it, but I can. It's a tip for everybody. If you walk through door 2, it's miscellaneous on the menu.
I can't tell you how much or how little pleasure I take in sort of shitting on this game because I hate doing that. And I don't like doing that. I want every game to be good. We've said this before, and especially when we don't get very many 3D platformers. Want this to be good.
And I think by the time this game actually comes out, which you said is March, I feel people are either still going to be talking about it or still planning on getting Mario 3D World.
I was just going to say, so putting this game out, I think a month or less than a month after Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury comes out is insane.
Yeah. It sounds like
speaking of which,
Balan Wonderworld is going to be on sale pretty quickly.
I mean,
isn't it like a full price game as well? That's the thing.
Balance.
Yeah, when you say it does sound like Balan Wonderworld, which is
Balan Wonderworld.
Yeah, it does.
Balan Wonderworld.
It does. Yeah.
I think that's the other thing is that it is full retail. It's like
It's full price, $60. Yeah.
Well, that's just ridiculous.
So's Mario 3D World, Bowser's Fury. I've been playing that. I tell you what, is a really good game in a preview sense. It's Bowser's Fury and Super Mario 3D World in a preview sense.
And that is all you can say about that. So let's move on.
The thing is, I was a bit, without like sharing the NDA with everyone who's going to be on the podcast, I was a bit concerned about mentioning this game in case I get asked a question. It's just like,
do you know what? Right?
Here we go.
Here's the thing. Like in terms of Bowser's Fury,
the thing that everyone wants to ask about, and that I can say
there's your preview.
about.
Your preview is there. All that jazz is there, right? Look, the actual base game. I don't know how much of that you can talk about, but that game is out in the goddamn Wii U, right? And I've played it. Is that? Can you say like that game still holds up? Yeah.
I can say that the first 4 worlds of that game were really enjoyable.
Are really good.
The first four worlds of a game I reviewed 7 years ago are still good. Yep. After those first 4 worlds, well, listen.
Who knows?
I just can't say.
Jesus.
Do you know what? I'll be honest with you, I can't remember. 7 years is a very long time. What I can say is, of those first 4 worlds of Super Mario 3D World, they made me feel exactly like I felt 7 years ago. And right now, that's kind of a valuable feeling. Do you know what I mean? I know that, and I don't want to be like, this is the new Animal Crossing, isn't it? What a timely release, because any game that makes you feel good is a timely release. I will say that of the first world, I was quite surprised by how much I'd forgotten, or rather, how creative. Like, I don't know. Did you all play it, the original? I know Chris did.
Yeah.
Do you remember I think it's the second or the third level of the first world where you can pick up a piranha plant, and it plays with all lights and shadow, Jesus Christ! There's enough ideas in that first 4 worlds for about 300 games in anyone else's mind. You know, it's mad.
I think 3D World is a Mario game that I think, as you just said there, the creative side of it is almost forgotten. Yep. Because I think a lot of people are just going, this is just going to be another like Mario platformer. Like, do you know,
it's faster as well, by the way.
Yeah, I have seen that.
No, I mean this is actually faster than the original game, is what I mean.
Yeah.
Like not like oh my god, but it is definitely
because it was
faster.
fast anyway. Wasn't
it was,
really?
yeah. But like you are really trucking now in this game.
Like I see him, I've seen side-by-side comparisons of when he's in like the cat suit and stuff, and it's like going uphill and it's like way faster, and not that like I never even thought that was I don't know, maybe if I played the Wii U version I might think that.
No, I have played the Wii U version relatively recently, and it held up. Like it was, I think it was probably Breath of the Wild technically came out on Wii U, so I was going to say it's probably the best Wii U game, but like I say, Breath of the Wild did technically come out on Wii U, so.
Yeah, and that's just the best game.
So obviously, you mentioned it when we were talking about it for the preview piece, but I've since gone back and the music.
Yep.
I've since listened to some of the songs and watched some YouTube videos, people playing it, and obviously there's some video on what we did as well. The music in that game is just glorious.
I got that full soundtrack off of like the Nintendo's like Point store. What was it? What did we have? Like, remember you bought
Stars.
Club Nintendo
Stars.
Yeah, Stars. I got the whole like soundtrack to that.
It's always Stars.
You used to
mate,
scratch off
Nintendo.
the coin things and DS games.
I had a
games.
great time when people traded in those games into GameStop back
mate,
in the day.
I tell you what, I had so many of them.
Robbing
one time,
those little pieces of paper.
Oh shit, there's nothing wrong with that.
Nah, no one
They were
cares.
in there. It's tough shit.
Hey, if they didn't know they were there to begin with, who's missing them? You know. No, I just like. There's not an awful lot. There will be more on godisageek.com and on this YouTube channel if you're watching us on there. There will be more on this game, obviously. I will say what I've played of Bowser's Fury so far, I very much enjoyed. It's like it feels like a weird, again in a preview sense. Fucking some games, man, it's just so stupid. But in a preview sense, it feels like kind of some Odyssey, some Sunshine, some 3D world, like it's all cat based, kind of smashed into this. Yeah, like I really dig what I've played so far of it.
I can say without even fucking playing this, it's going to be a must buy for anyone with Switches. And
mate, who knows? Listen. The first 4 worlds of that game are really fun.
The rest and the utter dog shit. We need to be approached with caution, mate.
Is it a must buy? I don't know. I mean, if only someone had reviewed this 7 years ago and could tell you, but I can't do it. I can't be that guy. Like I say, sometimes remasters from this side of it, it's just really daft. But whatever. Like, listen, we play the game. Speaking of which, Chris, Hyde, Adam, have you had any chance to play like Hitman? The only new release this year because the Medium has just come out, and Adam, you can't play the Medium. I've just realised. You have an Xbox, but not a Series Xbox.
No, I can't, unfortunately. So it'll come up in PlayStation, I'm sure of it.
Well, before we move on, actually, have you seen this? That someone, I think it was probably an influencer or someone who worked on the game, got sent like a gift, like a custom designed Xbox controller with the art on it. And on the box, it's got like the Medium, but on the top of the box, it's got the PlayStation buttons logo. You know, like the square triangle.
Oh, really?
So people are like going, so what? I reckon that's just a mistake, but yeah. So what? Yeah, Hitman.
Yes.
Man.
Yeah, haven't played. I've played a good bit of the first level. Now, here's my thing. Like, I haven't played Hitman 2. I said that last week, I'm sure. Played 1.
Did you?
No, I never played 2. I played 1.
I must have missed that last week. I'm surprised.
Yeah, you did say that last week.
Sorry, I missed that.
So
wow.
my whole go on this, I know there's like a lot of replay value within these new Hitman games. I just felt like my time of the first level, I took it very slow. I just played with all the options that were there. Even though like I did like some options I'd pick, I'd be like, I don't know if I'm gonna go through with this plan of what I'm doing, wearing a chef's outfit, and I rat poison, and then it turns out that way, and completing something is not the way. But what I will say is, I am loving it. I am absolutely loving it. I think the game looks superb. It's so much fun. I think and I'm going off the back of just that one first level, or whatever, first map, whatever you want to call it. Like every area I go into, I just get excited by what options are going to be there for me. What item is going to be there to pick up? What person am I going to strangle and take their clothes off of? Like,
that's the best game ever.
Like those kind of moments, you know, and then you just kind of like, I love the way when you decide to just go with this uniform and you go, right, I'm going to go on ahead now and let myself go into that area of the building and just get some options there. And then in the end, my first, like, I won't say how I did it or whatever, but like my outcome of my first level was nowhere that I planned. It wasn't what I planned at all. But then immediately I was like, I don't actually need to go on to the second chapter or level yet. I'll happily just repeat this again and just get to know it more and more. I think it's just so well designed. I think like I as I said, I haven't played Hitman 2, so I don't know how the progression was from 1 to 2. But like from 1 to 3, I think like it's just the level design is just superb. I was a bit kind of like not not disappointed, but like I just was surprised at like the tutorial mission when they say, "Oh, play it if you're not familiar," or just to familiarize yourself again. I was like, "Yeah, I will," because it's been a while. I was like, "Oh, it's the same level. It's the same."
Yeah, it was.
tutorial."
It has been.
I've since gone. Sorry, Chris, gone.
I was gonna say I hadn't played the original Hitman. I did, the one that was episodic. I didn't play that, so I jumped into Hitman 2 and then was like, "Oh, I'll play that."
What's wrong with these two, Chris White?
I know we're weird.
What's
I know.
wrong with
Well, I mean, it's you guys that got me into Hitman 2. So
knobheads.
thank you for that.
What you said. That was, she just quietly went knobheads.
Who said that? I didn't hear that. Was that? All right.
Don't mean it.
No.
I'll take that. I've been called worse probably
We know
today.
Chris. We know Chris. What?
So then, yeah, I played the ship level in Hitman 2, and then I went, "Oh yeah, I'll just remind myself how to kill people again in Hitman 3." And I was like, I have definitely done this before, but I still did it. It's still good fun just to.
The way to master these Hitman games, is that you have to not be like hung up on what you think you should do. You have to like, they are the most video gamey games you'll ever find. They have a set of rules, and they're mental. That those are the rules. Like, you can go up to a guy who, like, you can queue up you can get in a queue, and there's a guy, a bloke who really stands out. Like, I'm thinking of, well, it's not, in Paris in Hitman 1, there's the model guy right, with all the makeup on, and he will be speaking to someone, and you can walk off and you knock him out and you put his clothes on, and then you will walk up to that person who was just speaking to that guy, and they'll be like, "Hi mate, how you doing?" So, and there will be a moment where your normal, adult brain will go, "Fucking, I mean, he was just speaking to him." Like,
it's
he had
exactly the
hair.
same with because I've
hair. That's the point that
to...
gets me all the time. Like the guy's bald and talks like the most monotonous kind of like deadpan voice.
No, but you see, I think the voice acting is amazing. Because I think he gets there's a bit of humour in a lot of the moment. I know you've only played but there's levels later on where like and it happened. They did it in 2, Chris White. Like there was one where there was a moment where, because he starts kind of making jokes in 2 and into 3 where they're like, they'll say something like "Oh yeah, the wine's great," and he'll go like, "Yes, it's to die for," and the delivery's immaculate. It's immaculate. It's so good, and they know, and that's why I say the story weirds me out, because they know. Like, yes, it's kind of...
I've started playing the first one again.
Oh yeah,
it took me ages to get them all into 3.
I still haven't.
Xbox, there was an issue with it, and just if anyone wants to know how,
please.
I was told, someone on Reddit. I can't credit him, but it wasn't me. You go onto the Microsoft Store on your phone. Obviously, log into your account. You find the Hitman 3 access pass for Hitman 1, the Legacy Pack. Click download, and then it downloads. Because if you go into the store, it's registered as $24.99.
Yes.
I don't know if they've fixed it yet, but this was a few days ago. I went onto my phone and downloaded it for free.
Okay.
And then it all unlocked. But anyway, I've gone back to the first one, and like that ICA training facility has been there from the start, which indicates they always knew how the gameplay was going to be. Like, it hasn't changed.
They were just the bits, but
only tiny bits, but the kind of general gameplay hasn't changed. And like, you go back to the first one, like with Paris, it feels like another level in Hitman 3. And like, now I'm going back, getting the Silent Assassin for every level, and it's like so amazing. Like how I miss.
I want Sapienza back. I nearly bought it. I nearly just threw the money down because I want Sapienza. Sapienza's my fave.
But if you do that, you'll be able to get it into your Hitman 3, because you will be able to get stuff, because you've got Hitman, haven't you, on the Xbox?
I think I had it on PS4.
Right, okay.
Because
but
I think I had Hitman 1 on PS4. I reviewed Hitman 2 on PC, and I'm playing Hitman 3 on Xbox, so I'm kind of shit creek. But do you know what? I don't begrudge buying it.
I've got an Xbox, mate, so...
Yeah, no, I'm sure. I really want to play... Do you know what? Paris I didn't spend a lot of time with. I would like to, get into Paris.
About 3 hours on it, just in Paris, because you can, like, if you assassinate them quickly, you've got the time bonus. But I literally spent 3 hours in Paris first time.
Did you know, by the way, the world record for killing both targets in Dubai? Have you seen what it is?
Yeah, I do.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
4 seconds.
After I'd finished Dubai the first time, like for myself, I looked more into it, so I knew what they were talking about, and I was like, "That's interesting. I will try and do that." but then obviously I want to try all the other options. But I'm intrigued to try it.
I was intrigued with Chris White. Like, now you've got all of them. Have you actually had a chance to play all of the levels again, or just some of them?
No, I'm still on one. I'm in Marrakesh at the minute, so I'm literally spending my time with them. But like the last one I've just finished is Sapienza, and I didn't even go into the village. I didn't go to the sea bit, like the ports. I literally stayed in the mansion. I wrote, because I didn't do this when I played it originally. There's like a romance option where you disguise yourself as the guy you're assassinating, his golf coach.
Doesn't recognise that it's not.
No, but it's not just that.
I know.
But it's stupid because you've just witnessed him talk on the phone to the woman you're about to assassinate. He's like, "Hey, baby, let's go to your room and let's have a party and all this." I'm paraphrasing, and then like you kill him, and then you have to phone her up, and you're like, "I'll wait for you in your room. Yes, see you soon." Like, how the fuck do you not know that's not the guy?
We'll have a killingly good time. You know, it's kind of...
I'm going to murder your pussy.
Jesus Christ.
Sorry.
But like, I honestly think that stuff makes the game better.
Yeah, it does.
There's two things I just want to highlight as well. That one is, I think the use of the dual sense here is
what have they done?
So it's just the guns, it's just the triggers, like it's just like
shit.
It's still so
Chris.
new. Because I said this last week, getting a new PS5 game, I'm excited for.
And Chris and I were just talking recently about how we would really like a new PS5 game because it's
everything like every time you raise the gun up, whatever, like it just like you feel the trigger getting heavy, and then it clicks and stuff for each shot, and it just feels banging because you're just like especially in an assassination game, this
just not to tell you're playing it wrong, but Adam, you shouldn't be using guns in that game. Sorry, I just get that.
Well, that was in the tutorial mission. But besides that, right, I have to say, right, do you remember this is just so funny as well, this game. But you know, in the first level of 3, and it's not a spoiler really, it's just what happened to me, but you know, there's a certain room that you go to where it's like a circuit room, and it has 4 things that you have to pull these panels out of.
Yeah.
So I was doing that, right? Like I logged in with the key card, whatever, and it said like I had to get something, and I was like, wait, what's this? What did we get? What am I getting? So I was like, pull out the fucking circuit thing, locks me in the room, alarms go off, security comes, right? No joke, lads. Because I couldn't figure out what I was supposed to do, I set off that alarm 6 times. And every time a new guard came, I just, fuck's sake! And every time a new guard arrived, he was like, there's like 5 bodies on it. And I'm just hiding behind the circuit thing going, all right, you're next, bang! And I just couldn't figure out, but it's all these moments of comedy that it brings, like, as you said, Adam, like throwing a wrench or a tin of beans or something at like some poor fella who's just doing his job in the kitchen. It's like, have a wrench, bang, and you're just like, hilarious.
Yep.
And
it
even actually just says that it even opens up these like hilarious like options of like walking past somebody who's just looking over a balcony. You can just like pull them over, just like
even innocent people.
And I haven't done it, but it's just like I want to.
Yep. Well, let's get into some listener correspondence, and then we can call it a podcast. So from Discord, we got some questions. This is from Politica. There were rumours of a surprise developer working on a new Knights of the Old Republic recently. Who would you want to see working on that new game outside the usual big names? Because obviously, you know, Star Wars can be by anybody now. Well, as of 2023. Who would you want to make a new KOTOR outside, you know, the obvious?
I would pick Obsidian.
Yeah.
Because of their work on Pillars of Eternity. Like they have got some great systems in place. I'll probably simplify some of them, but like they could nail a Star Wars game. Like I'd quite happily read shitloads of text. I think someone like Obsidian would be good. Just for the strategy element of it.
Who?
Blizzard.
Current Blizzard. Yeah, all right.
I don't have a problem with it.
I'd go for Supergiant.
I was going to say Supergiant.
Okay,
bastard.
they do, and I had a feeling you might, so I thought I wanted to get in there. They do. They're brilliant with narrative. I think of them.
Yeah.
Was it Pyre? The game they did was a lot of text based.
Yes.
They seem to understand RPG mechanics, or at least in terms of skill trees and levels with Hades. They definitely know how to make games feel good. Also, I just really like that studio. So
they haven't done a bad one really. So
they've not made a bad game.
On, aren't you?
They have not made a bad game. Who else is there then? Outside the
who did
usual
Banner
thing?
Saga?
Oh Christ!
They definitely not googling. Hang on.
No, definitely not waiting for you to Google at all.
Banner Saga, they could nail it, but that just obviously I won't be asked about the
Stoic.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. They could do it. They nailed the story in that. They just need to kind of touch up the way they played out battles, I think, or fighting. But
I'm kind of just hoping that the Ubisoft one is a Mandalorian game. Because I've thought this before, right? When you get these big budget sort of games that are based around a franchise in and out, there's always this thing where it has to be a new story. Like, I would be happy, because we know that the Ubisoft massive Star Wars game is going to be an open world action RPG with a unique, story-driven adventure, right? I would be happy if they just made The Mandalorian as a game and you just relived all that stuff, because there's all the I don't know, they're not going to do that. But yeah, I don't know.
I don't mind them doing a game within the Mandalorian universe, like something along the lines of when in the series when Cara Dune or Dane, the woman, the badass, she kind of starts working for the Resistance. They could do that, because that's never going to be written out like that. You're never going to see that, I don't think.
Every time I hear about this Star Wars game, this open world one, I can just from a distance, I can hear the moany shitheads revving their cars, ready to come up, park up, and just bitch about the whole thing.
Well, on that positive note, if you could, McPoo on Discord says, if you could erase one game from your memory and play it for the first time again, which would it be? And I'm going to go to Chris Hyde, because I'm worried he might have the same answer as me again. But it's only fair if he gets to go first this time.
So, I've been thinking about this one. It's a bloody good question. Can I just say?
Yeah,
let's think about this. I think I know what Adam's going to say.
My answer came bang straight away.
Yeah,
instantly.
and I have two answers, and I'm going to go with the other one because I think I'm going to let you have your moment in the sun.
How many words are there in my one?
3.
Yeah,
I'm going to pick 3 in yours.
No, you're not going fucking second then. I think
I'm
going
to say I'm going to say Super Mario Odyssey.
Good call.
The reason because I'm in my mind, do I go for my favorite game of all time, or a really
What is your favorite game of all time?
Secret of Mana on the SNES, not the remake that pissed on my life.
Oh wow!
Anyway,
you have
my
told
favorite
us
game
before, I think, but yes, yeah.
The reason I said that is obviously it's a bloody brilliant game, but also I think if it was released now, I would respect kind of the time frame within which it's released, because of it's still new, if that makes sense, and shiny. Yeah. I feel like if I was to play an older game, say in that series, then I was thinking, well, would I be as enamored with it in this moment right now? But despite how good those games would be, so my answer is Super Mario Odyssey.
Okay, fine, Adam Carroll.
Am I guessing yours or what?
You know what mine is, because you're going to say it as well. Go, what's yours?
Oh yeah, mine would be Silent Hill 2.
Okay, fair enough. That is not at all what I thought you were going to say. That's really that you'd wipe your memory.
Yeah. I don't think I'll ever forget how I felt after I played that.
Right.
There's obviously going down the route of what Chris said there, what he was saying. If I was to do something along that lines, I'd feel like I think I remember the first time I played GTA 3. I think the upgrade with the that game just existing, coming into the world, the PlayStation 2, and I just remember just playing Grand Theft Auto 3 and just couldn't believe how it was. And that's that. But it's mainly just Silent Hill 2. Yeah, I could say Breath of the Wild and stuff, but
my only concern would be that Chris has mentioned a game that's timeless. Yours, I wonder, playing it fresh from. Hey, it's your choice. It's your choice.
No, it would.
You don't mind playing retro games, though, to be fair to you, so...
No.
Chris White?
Mine is 3 words.
I'm getting more and more
within
clenched.
the Mario world. No, it's not really. It's Metal Gear Solid.
The PlayStation game.
Such a good choice.
Like I was gonna go with either that or God of War.
A lot of good games have got 3 words, haven't they?
Yeah.
Just if anyone's thinking of titles of games, use 3 words.
Final Fantasy VII, for example.
Yeah. But like when I finished God of War, I felt shit for months.
Yeah, we both did. We really struggled.
Yeah, it was really bad. But I remember like playing Metal Gear as a
good choice.
15-year-old, and just thinking like, this is another level. Like I've never seen anything quite like this. Yeah. And like even now, I think back. I've played it since as well. I played it about 6 or 7 years ago on a PS Vita, and it still holds up. Like I'd love to see.
It's amazing.
I'd love to see like a full-on Blue Point remake. And I think probably is my shit if that ever happened. But like that game alone is fantastic. Yeah, and for me, it stands the test of time. So Metal Gear Solid.
There isn't a moment of Metal Gear Solid that I would ever change.
No, it's perfect.
I mean, so mine obviously the long-awaited 3 words: Kojima's Death Stranding. I'd see the obvious. It's the obvious Super Mario World. It's the best game ever made, I think. But you know what? I've said a lot about that game. I still think that game feels as fresh as a daisy. It doesn't feel God knows how many years old it is. Well, it must be 20 at least, if not more. Just feels perfect to me. However, I'm going to throw another one out there, and it's a game I played hundreds of hours of, rinsed it, completed it so many times, but I would love to play it again completely fresh. Bloodborne. You know? That is a game that I have played so much.
Do you know...
You know, I can't really play it with a clean mindset.
Bloodborne is like, I think every year I see a circulation of love come out for that game.
It's a great
game. And I think
game.
Like it has to be From Software's finest game. Like it is their absolute magnum opus of a game. Like there isn't many people who dislike Bloodborne, especially when it clicks for them. When it just eventually rolls, it's like everyone is just, I can't believe it, and they just adore it. Like,
yeah, I mean the God of War. I'm totally on board with God of War. I will state as well, Breath of the Wild. I have to say that because I still remember reviewing that.
Yeah.
There are certain games, and we'll get onto this for this next question, that when you're reviewing them and you know that not many people are playing this, that you feel like, wow, this is like, am I mad? Can this honestly be as good as I think it can? Because this is like groundbreaking.
I remember your review dropping for. There's 2 reviews you had, Adam, that I was like waiting for to just come out so I could read, and it was like Arkham Knight. I remember that was coming out because there was just such a big hype for it as well. But then when Breath of the Wild, when the reviews for Breath of the Wild were dropping, and then it was just happening. I remember just reading your review, and I was just like, oh my god, this is just going to be the greatest thing of all time, and it was. So that's that. But
that game I will never forget. Like being able to play that, and I don't really second guess myself too often when I'm reviewing a game, but there were moments where I was like, this is, like games have been going a long time, so to be able to say I reviewed one of the best games ever made. Like, think about how many games are made. Like, for me, that you don't get the chance to... I mean, Chris, you had it with God of War. You don't get... I think that's one of the best games ever made. And I don't think you get many chances to be the one who reviewed one of the best games ever made. One of the games
especially
that people
so early as well.
Forever. Yeah. Like, God of War was mega early as well. Like, I mean, we can move on to the last question as well, because that's related. Go on, Ad.
I just quickly say, I have a friend playing God of War for the first time, and like, each day... she's just telling me like this is what's after happening.
You still see videos of that game on socials, sort of clips of it that are like, you can do that. Like it's still. Anyway, G-Town Steve on Discord
2 is
says,
going to be next level, lads.
Well, let's hope so. G-Town Steve says, how do you decide who reviews or previews each game? I suppose that one's for me. Do you have a system? But I'll answer that, and then we'll answer the other question. Basically, we're a small team. And I know what people would... I'd like to think I know what people will be interested in. And without sounding arrogant, I know my shit. And I know the people who we work together. And I know if I see a game that someone might not have heard of, I think that might be something. And it's as simple as that, really. But the question I thought is the more interesting one, I guess, for all of us is, What games do you wish you'd reviewed that you missed out on, or perhaps didn't? God of War and Bloodborne would be mine. I tend to not review Soulsy games because they can really fuck you up. Like, I did review Dark Souls 3, and I've told that story many times, but Bloodborne, I knew I wanted to play, but I remember Mick going through that. There is an element to reviewing that kind of game before it comes out where you feel as if you are letting people down. You have to complete it because they are based around you. Here's an area, get through it. Here's the boss, beat the boss. You could then miss a boss that is utter horseshit, bad design, and you've given it a 10 because you loved what you played of it. They are a difficult, and they don't always come early enough. Nintendo are good at this, but like FromSoft games, I feel like should be a month early minimum. They don't always. I don't remember how. I don't think Bloodborne was that early. Dark Souls 3 was. God of War is one of that and The Last of Us were two of the earliest. Nintendo are very good at it, as I say. I won't go into it any more than that. But Sony have gotten a lot better at that as well, actually. And God of War and The Last of Us Part 2 are two of the earliest access to a final review build of a game I can recall.
Persona 5, I remember that being
That's very true.
Early.
Atlas were always very good, actually, as well. But God of War, as someone, not as a writer, but as someone who critiques games, sometimes you want your words on that game. And God of War is one that, in hindsight, I regret. Not as the boss, not going, I'm reviewing God of War. I still played it and I loved it, and it's one of my favourite games of all time. And Chris did it absolutely justice. But yeah, that would God of War or Bloodborne in recent memory, I think, for me. Yeah, there you go. Anyone else?
I don't want to sound like boring, but I genuinely can't think of anything. I think
to be fair, you review a lot of big games. I was going to say, would The Last of Us be one for you? I reviewed that, didn't I? Yeah, I definitely reviewed that.
Yeah, you reviewed it.
Yeah.
No,
I think then. It was only last
I don't know.
year.
No, because you reviewed Last of Us Part 2, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm sure
And
I did.
Sony were incredibly kind.
Is
Yeah,
that not Chris?
I definitely reviewed I definitely reviewed it.
You definitely reviewed
I'm
it.
literally googling it, but
they gave me a code.
Certain. That's
and
right.
I did the guides for it.
It was like,
that's right. That's
you got the code like a week later, but it was still like a month before it came out.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, I did review. I've just checked.
Well, no,
100%.
I don't think there's a single game. I think I've been quite fortunate and lucky that you do know what I like, and we all kind of know. And if someone gets a game, no one's like, bastard.
Do you know what?
We'll come on to that because there absolutely is. No,
I can think of another game. I don't want to be like constantly recent games. Control. Mick reviewed Control. I love Control. Control, and I wish I interviewed someone on the team for like a freelance thing, and I did coverage around that game all over the shop. But I
here, Ultimate Edition free for PS Plus.
No comment.
I suppose the thing with like being disappointed in reviewing, like if say for Control they'd given it you 4 days early and you had to blast through it, you wouldn't have had the opportunity to just enjoy that game.
Just enjoy it, yeah.
Like Mick had to. Well, I don't know when they, but I'm just.
No, that was quite early as well, I think.
But there are certain games like we have, like Red Dead 2 wasn't mega early.
Not as early as you'd have liked.
So I had to spend like every day on that, and like that's fine. I'm not complaining.
No, we've all done it. To be fair, we've
all
done it.
As a point of a writer, you want the game as early as possible, so you're not having to rush through everything, so you can see everything that game has to offer. So there are. It's
always a balance, right? Isn't it? Of like you want to have it early enough to enjoy it, but you know that you don't always get that because there's obviously the good feeling, isn't it, of playing it before everyone else. Yeah, and like I say, you're experiencing something that very few people right now are seeing. And that's a nice thing, isn't it? But you're right. If you can't then enjoy it in the sense of like because you're having to play through quicker than you normally would, or not in a way that you normally would if you were at your own pace. Yeah, that's you. I'd say you get less enjoyment out of it because when you do play at your own pace, you appreciate it more. I think. Yeah. So in those examples that you listed, where you're like you got that good time and you've managed to play through it in the way you would, that's where you really hit the sweet spot, I think. Mm.
Any games though that
I mean, I guess for me, I'd have loved to have played The Last of Us Part 2. I think if I'd have, because that story is incredible. Even though we've talked about that to death, won't go into it again.
But if you can go and listen to,
go and listen to that.
If it's audio or not.
All my opinions are 100% correct in that. But so being able to experience that, I think, would have been really amazing for me, just because of how much I enjoyed that. I think even something like Hades. Having played that, I obviously played that on the recommendation of other people, which meant I got to play at my own pace. But if I'd managed to get ahead of the curve on that, that'd have been amazing, because that game's incredible too. So.
I think, and don't want to get braggy, but at the risk of doing that, like as a site, we're a relatively decent-sized website, which means we do get access to most games early, and to be honest, we get enough access that most of our team get to play them as part of the job. So I don't think anyone here misses out. But in terms of reviewing games, I hate to say this, but I've done this for over 10 years now. There is a part of me that doesn't want to review games anymore. But that does mean that you don't get to play some games. So like, I wouldn't be playing Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury if I wasn't reviewing it,
Mm-hmm.
But I felt for a while like I have reviewed it. Like Chris and Mick do the lion's share of reviews now. And I used to do a lot more reviews, and I wonder if Chris will, because obviously I've done this a bit longer, but I wonder if if it's just a me thing, or if you'll find a point where you almost feel like you've said everything you can say in a review. You clearly haven't yet, because reading your Medium review is like it didn't feel like, oh, that's like the review he wrote of so and so. Because I read and edit the reviews, like the Medium was a great, well written review, and I didn't read it thinking, oh yeah, that really reminds me of that review, right? But for me, sometimes I have to feel like the spark of inspiration, because I feel like I've said everything I've ever said.
No, I think you're
with games like
right.
Breath of the Wild, like how can you top that?
It all depends on the game you're reviewing. Like, because with the Medium, it kind of, I was excited about playing it. Like, I enjoyed it, and like when you're kind of enjoying something, you kind of you experience it differently to like another side scroller or another platformer or another first person shooter, where there's only so much you can say about it, and you kind of, if it's a game you're not entirely in love with, you struggle to kind of find the words.
The worst review to write is a 5 out of 10.
I agree.
I'd rather write a 2 out of 10.
If it's really bad or it's like amazing, then there's clearly like you're passionate one way or the other. It's like you say, I imagine like what you're talking about, Adam, is more around like I can't talk about another generic middle of the road game. I probably said all the ways I can describe, average. I think is harder to,
or I guess a boring game is the worst one for me.
Yeah, I guess to Chris's point, when you're not passionate for either way, it's harder to articulate.
You kind of slip back into like autopilot.
Yeah, trope mode, I suppose.
Yeah. Whereas you're not right. Kind of, you're not really writing an honest review sometimes in that sense. But that can't be helped when you haven't got the inspiration to write about it. Because I will always love writing about games. Yeah. But some games are much easier to write about than others.
I wish I wrote the review for Animal Crossing New Horizons.
I'm glad you didn't.
4 out of 10.
Yeah.
Shit.
And on that note, that is very much a podcast for this week. You can find us on all social media platforms via just searching God is a Geek, one word usually. We're on YouTube. If you're not watching this, you could have watched us discuss it. You could have seen Adam's hat slowly seem to be going higher up.
I know, yeah.
To the point where for a minute I was like, hang on, has he taken his hat off? Because I couldn't tell anymore. But yes, you can do that. Go to patreon.com/GodIsAGeek. That's patreon.com/GodIsAGeek, and you can support us, fund the people on this podcast directly. We do code drops, we do early stuff, exclusive stuff, all sorts. Go and have a look. You'll see. That's it. Thank you very much to Christopher, and Adam.
Thank you.
Thanks to Adam's Fuse Box for being the star of the show.
Thank you.
Yep. An old Fuse Box.
Chris's fluffy hair.
That's right, yes. Yeah, and your D&D wine bottle restaurant setup. And thank you very much to you for watching or listening, or however you choose to consume this. And we will see you next week, or whenever you choose to listen. Bye-bye for now.